So it is April 28th. 10 days ago, on April 18th, Lieutenant Governor Dewhurst said, the last thing we want to do is force every nursing home operator who has Medicaid beds to shut down, and some 50,000 to 60,000 grandmas and grandpas are pushed out on the street. Now that's not Texas. We're here to make sure the Senate stands true to that declaration and to encourage senators to continue to stand strong in preventing the Senate budget from coming to the Senate floor. The Senate budget is an improvement, but it falls short where we need to be. With me are some of my colleagues, Democrats on the House Appropriations Committee, who are going to share a few observations on how the Senate budget falls short exactly.
Thank you, Representative Villarreal. I just left just a few minutes ago the Senate, and they are discussing at this present time fiscal matters. The Democrats on the Senate side are trying to figure out how they can find some revenue in order to keep our nursing homes open, in order to add money to the education bills, and how to put money into the criminal justice areas and other areas that are falling short. I can tell you that if they actually use $3 billion from the rainy day fund, the Senate budget is still more than $5 billion short of funding our public school needs, including the growth in the student population. Because $4 billion for the foundation school program and over $1 billion in grants for pre-K and other programs. So without the rainy day fund, the shortfall is even worse. So it's evident that we need to find additional revenue if we're going to maintain Texas as we know it today. I'm going to bring up the chair of the Legislative Black Caucus, Chairman Turner, who can really talk to you about the structural deficit problems and what we are going to need to do in order to keep the same thing from happening 2 years from now.
Let me just say, and again, what you're going to hear from, I think, from all of us is not going to be anything, I guess, different from what we have already said. The House bill, you know, from our vantage point, is woefully inadequate. And when the bill came out of the House, I think there were many members on the House side who was looking to the Senate to save the day. And that includes Republican members who voted for the House bill, who have told me themselves that if it was the final version, they would not be voting for the House bill. That's coming from Republicans, not coming from Democrats. The Senate bill, at least the bill that has come out of the Finance Committee, though better than the House, I think many of them, if not most of them, will agree that it certainly does not meet just the basic needs of the state of Texas. And I've talked to some of the senators and just trying to decide how they want to approach it this week, or if not this week, next week, or whenever, and they recognize the shortages that exist. I think we all are cognizant of the fact that in 2003, when we made the 1/3 property reduction, and we replaced it by reconfiguring, restructuring the franchise tax, it was just indicated at that time that it was going to be inadequate. It was not going to balance. It has not balanced. And now it's costing us billions of dollars every year. And that will only continue, and it will continue to grow. That has not changed. And as long as that takes place, we are facing a significant structural deficit. The budget, we're facing a budgetary crisis. We're facing tremendous impacts. And no matter how many times the governor or somebody else says nursing homes will not close, if the House bill goes out of here, or if there is no bill coming from the Senate because the two can't get together, nursing homes will close and there are going to be people out on the street. Those are the realities. I never would have thought in my 20 years here that we will be laying off capable, competent, qualified teachers. I never would have thought it. That's already taken place. And just in Harris County, to see high school students leaving their high schools, protesting because they were losing their teachers, that was very, very real, okay? And it's going to continue to happen. That's just the beginning. It's going to take place all over the state of Texas, not just in urban areas, but in suburban areas, in rural Texas. School teachers are going to be losing their jobs. School employees are going to lose their jobs. Some schools are going to close or be consolidated. Those are all real. Seniors are going to be losing their nursing homes. And so the impact is going to continue and continue. Lastly, what I will say, I think the Senate is making it poignantly clear. You cannot even meet some of the basic needs without using the rainy day fund. At some point, the governor is going to get it. He's going to get that. He has not gotten that yet. You can't even meet some of the basic needs without using the rainy day. And my optimism that we're going to use it is kind of waning because unless the Senate and the Finance Committee and those stick to it, then at the end of the day, we will have you could come up with a budget where you're just using non-revenue resources, and the budget will be woefully inadequate, the needs will continue to be unmet, and this state will pay the price for decades to come. And now let me bring up none other than my colleague, Craig Eiland.
We should not destroy our infrastructure, our public schools today because we're trying to save tomorrow. The excuses of not using the rainy fund today because we're going to have the same problem in 2 years does not make sense to me. We all recognize the structural deficit issues we have, so we need to address those. So we need to save today, save our infrastructures, save our public schools, and begin addressing the problems that we know we're going to have in 2 years. That's simple.
Any questions?
Are y'all getting any sense? I'm not getting a real sense that this is sinking in with your average people out there.
And that is one argument for continuing this public conversation into the summer.
So you would agree, though, that this is not sunk in?
Yeah, well, I think that I believe Texans are getting it. I think when I go home to my district, I have actually a lot of conversations with teachers or relatives of teachers, or parents, people who have children with disabilities. I believe there is a rumbling. I think it continues to grow. It wasn't much at the beginning of the session. It is much greater today, and I believe if we go into the summer months, we will see a heightened level of awareness. And ultimately, we make better decisions when more people are watching us.
And let me add to that. I don't think the business community gets it. I don't think the business community gets it. Quite frankly, with all due respect, I don't even think the media fully comprehends the magnitude of this problem. This is a serious problem, and I don't think the media fully gets it. And I think the average Texan has a sense of disconnect, because in November of last year, they heard all over the television stations, Texas is open for business. 3 months later, we are telling them, elected officials, politicians, that the state is facing a budgetary crisis. They're having to process that, and at the same time, they're having to bounce back from these economic circumstances that they've been hearing about for the last year or two. I think, unfortunately, many will get it when we leave here. Teachers are getting it now because they're losing their jobs. The people who are being impacted are getting it now. Students are starting to get it, but it seems as though the parents the business community, the faith-based community, preachers and others, are slowly starting to get it. Okay. When we were dealing with Obamacare, I mean, the shouts and the screams and all of that was front and center. But for some strange reason, I would tell you, teachers can lose their jobs by the thousands. Kids can lose insurance by the thousands. Seniors can lose their nursing homes by the thousands. 8,000 plus employees are starting to lose their jobs. But where is the outcry? At some point, it's going to dawn on folk that this problem is for real and it is not going away.
I think another thing, I think people back in our communities do not associate their financial problems with the state government and its financial problems. And I think until we can get that connection, they're not going to understand why it's hard for them to balance their checkbooks. It's why it's hard for them to buy that extra pair of tennis shoes for the children. Why they have to say no to going to different activities that the children are requesting that they want to be involved in. And until we can get that connection, I think it's going to be difficult. Again, I think something that Chairman Turner hit the nail right on the head is that the press has a responsibility in this. And for some reason, I don't know why, it has not gotten to the grassroots level as to why people are having a hard time. And they need to understand that one of the reasons is because of the severe budget deficits and the cuts that they are going to be experiencing in the very near future. And I hope we don't have to be gone for 3 or 4 months before the citizens of this state realize that there are ways to put money into the budget to give them some relief, and we're not doing it because of political reasons.
Any more questions?
So you're saying going to sell SB1 limits, the same version of this $3 billion, blow the whole thing up, keep working until you spend up to the current level.
I think we can
get to
do
the summer special session. Just keep working this out until you get to where you think this should.
Let me put it in my own words,
Sure.
and my colleagues can add their own. My position is that the Senate is right to hold up the budget. I believe it needs more work. It falls short in public ed by $5 billion. That means it's not paying for the new students that are showing up. It fails to underfund higher ed by $2 billion. That means that tuition is going to be rising, and financial aid that was there, promised to students, is not going to be there. It falls short in health and human services by $7 billion. That means the nursing homes that Governor Dewhurst promised would not close are going to close, and there will be seniors, grandmas and grandpas on the street. We have an obligation to do better. We can do better. There are other options that need to be put on the table. The rainy day fund is certainly one of them, but another is scrubbing our tax code to eliminate tax exemptions and loopholes that we can no longer afford. And if this means having an extended conversation into the summer, well, I would say that is a higher priority. It is that is less onerous than the pain and the suffering that our seniors and the lost opportunities that our children will be inflicted with if we fail to do right by them in this budgeting process. Thank you so much.